Here comes two!
What is going on, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be talking about not the newest, but a newer A24 movie in the drama. I think Mother Mary maybe came out since then, so I don't want to say the newest, but a newer movie. It just came out in April, about a month and a half ago. Finally at home video. We wanted to catch this in the theaters, my wife and I, but we just didn't quite have the time. We saw some other stuff instead. But yeah, finally on home, like a week or two ago. I've been trying, like, every single time we have some free time. I'm like, hey, you want to watch the drama? You want to watch the drama? Not necessarily because I've been, like, dying to see this movie. I like seeing new releases, and this was one I was interested in just due to the cast. Yeah, I want to talk about what the movie's kind of blank template is first, before we get into some of the crazier stuff. I do want to give not necessarily a trigger warning or anything like that, but this movie does deal with mass shootings, and some people, maybe have been involved with that, and they just can't really watch something like this, and that's completely okay if they can't. I do think for a subject matter like this, it does need to be warned to some people, just because you never know. And so yeah, I just kind of want to give like a little blank template. I'm not going to go into necessarily hard details just yet, but movie starts, Zendaya meets Robert Pattinson, their little meet cute happens. Flash forward, their wedding this weekend, this Saturday. It's coming up in just a few days. They're getting ready. They go out for a dinner with two of their friends, in which they play a game around the table. What's the worst thing you've ever done? The first guy, he used his girlfriend as a human shield to block a dog from attacking him. I did do a quick catch up before I started recording, just to catch up on some things I may have missed. And somebody on Reddit said that she, the girlfriend that he had at the time, was antagonizing the dog or something like that. I don't 100% know that to be true. I think me and my wife may have been talking during that part, so I can't 100% remember. But that's the worst thing he ever did. Second person is the lady from the band Haim. My wife knows her from that. If you're like me, you know her from Licorice Pizza. Right? Yeah, okay. Licorice Pizza. And one 2-second cameo and One Battle After Another. That's, I think, all I've seen her in besides this. She plays her character pretty well in this movie, though. But she essentially locked an autistic. We're led to believe it's an autistic child. She locked him in an RV in the woods when she was a child. Pretty fucking crazy. Yeah. She didn't really act like it was a big deal, but me and my wife were looking at each other like, yo, what the actual fuck? That's insane, bro. How do you just pass that off nonchalantly and don't even feel embarrassed? I guess that's more so the generation maybe something they're trying to generalize about the generation is that they don't really take a lot of things too serious. They play it off as like, this crazy thing happened. Yeah, it was pretty fucking crazy. Then we get to Robert Pattinson. He says the worst thing he has ever done was he cyberbullied someone. In all fairness, he was 15. That doesn't really make it okay, but I'm sure he has grown since then. He does say that the child moved, but he's unsure as if that is due to his bullying. We don't 100% know. Still pretty fucked up regardless, especially if the kid had to move. That's kind of dark if the kid had to fucking move. But then we get to Zendaya. She goes last, and she really debates on saying the worst thing she ever did. And if you're debating on anything this fucking hard, and it's not something that you absolutely have to, don't share anything like this with people you can't like trust with your lives. Because Zendaya's only known, hell, the person she's marrying for, we were told 2 years they've been together, and that she's met these other two people in that same time span. 2 years is not enough time, no matter how much time you spend with someone, maybe the person you're marrying. But we'll go down the line later, maybe not even in their scenario, that she shouldn't share with him either. You should not share with any friends that you've only known for maybe 2 years, let alone maybe even not a partner that you've only been together with for 2 years. And she shares that when she was 15, she had planned a mass attack on her school due to some I'll be the person to say it's some light bullying. It really wasn't that fucking bad. I'm gonna be honest. She got shoved into some mud. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. And some kid told her to wear deodorant. I don't know if I'm going to jump from that to like, holy shit, I need revenge in the worst possible way, and to get, I guess, the others too. I don't even know what the fuck the other kids did to her. We only see it happen twice. And she very quickly makes friends later. She doesn't go through with it, and we're not 100% sure why. That's something I want to get into a little bit later. But she doesn't go through with it, makes some friends, and so it doesn't really seem like her school was really that fucking bad. It just seemed like she needed to try and make some fucking friends, and I guess life got a lot better for her. And the rest of the movie is basically Robert Pattinson like, yo, what the fuck do I do now? The wedding is this Saturday, mind you. I think we only go through like 4 or 5 days leading up to the wedding. So pretty fucking crazy. It's like, you gotta make a decision right now, bro. You got family flying in, and to be fair, he doesn't fly in all his family. I think they say his grandparents aren't coming, and he tries to say, the travel might be too much. But I think it's because he doesn't know if he's going to marry this woman still. I watched this movie last night. Not last night, about this time yesterday. So it's been about 24 hours, mind you. So I get done with the movie, me and my wife, and then my copy of Lego Batman ships. I'm like, oh shit, let me go get it from the mail. I go get in, play it for however long, video on the way, whatever. That's not what we're here for. Then I wake up this morning, 6 a.m., get ready for work, head to work, and then for just from 7 to like 10 or so, I'm just thinking about this movie, man. It's super well made. Thinking about it after the fact, I was more so thinking about Zendaya's character, which led me to think more about Robert Pattinson's character. And really, who's in the wrong in this relationship? And is Zendaya's character still a fucking psychopath? Yeah, I say still because even if you plan that and go to the lengths that you bring that to the place with you and then just don't do it last second, you're a fucking psychopath. Yeah, this movie doesn't necessarily try to sympathize with her per se, but it does try and show some light stuff to see why she would do that. In my opinion, it's never crazy enough for her to justify doing that. So I was thinking today at work, is Zendaya's character a psychopath at the end of the movie still? This is where I'm going to get into a little bit more of the spoilers. So as you heard me say a few seconds ago, this is a very well-made movie. And that's not even something I really realized until after the fact, because I'm still questioning if she was a psychopath, and I think that's what tells me this is a really fucking well-made movie, is because without that knowledge that you have of her plan on what she was going to do, you would not think any less of her in the things I'm about to say. So why I still don't know if she's a psychopath. So the first thing I'm going to say is kind of early in the movie, she's with like a group of her friends. I don't know if the woman from Haim is there or not. I can't 100% remember. Where her friends are like, well, I think the character's name is Charlie, but Robert Pattinson, is he your first love? And she said, yeah, I guess so. Or is he your first crush? Yeah, I guess so, he is. So she doesn't even really know what her feelings are for her husband, which this takes place before she even tells what her plan was. So I don't even really think of it. It's something I thought about after the fact. I was like, wait a second, she doesn't even know how she feels about this person. Which, that does sound like an okay, normal thing to think until you get that out of context and you're like, she doesn't know how she feels about this person. So that alone wouldn't necessarily have me thinking she's a psychopath or anything like that. But we go on a little bit later into the movie, and Robert Pattinson's character, it's not funny, but he's so scared of her at this point. He's just freshly heard this story about her that he throws away one of her coffee mugs that says something along the lines of coffee or I'll shoot or something like that. Some fucking millennial shit. But he throws that away and then deletes his fucking wedding speech he has planned to tell for her. And he goes off into another room because she comes in, and then she goes to confront him because she sees the coffee mug is in the trash, and she's still holding a butcher knife because she was about to make a smoothie. And he's fucking terrified that she's holding this knife, and she's like, what, you think I'm just gonna come here to stab you? and then she fucking jumps out at him like she's about to stab him. And of course he flinches the fuck out. Yeah, why would you not? That's some fucking psychopath behavior. Why are you flinching at your fiance, who you know is a little bit kind of put off right now by the story you've just shared? That's, even then, that alone, I still don't think she's necessarily a psychopath just yet, until we get to the end of the movie. Now, this does go into something I'm going to say a little bit more about Charlie after I get through this last point. But Robert Pattinson, his character cheats on her pretty much. And there's this huge blow up at the wedding where she finds out, and she seemingly has no reaction to it. She goes to her parents, and yeah, I guess we can see her makeup maybe smeared a little bit on the eyeliner, so it's implied that maybe she's been crying. But we genuinely don't know. We don't ever see any actual reaction on her face to finding out that her husband not only cheated on her, then she goes through with the rest of her, post-wedding stuff until her husband is now assaulted. That's when she actually finally leaves the wedding. And that's actually when we actually see any fucking tears, by the way. So, yeah, we don't actually see her have any feelings towards her newly married husband cheating on her. So there's a little edit back, actually. I do want to just add one more context to, is Zendaya's character a fucking psychopath or not? So the reason that she didn't go through with the shooting, that we're led to believe is the reason at least, is because there was actually a mass shooting just before she had planned to do it herself. So we don't 100% know if she would have done it if that hadn't happened. We're led to believe she probably would have, because she doesn't really show any empathy. She barely seems sad when she's telling the story back later on in life. So we really don't know if she still has these urges. We still see that she can still be violent at times. Robert Pattinson's character is a pussy because he remembers something back about her being violent because she slapped him during sex. So we all know Robert Pattinson's character is not a real fucker. So he's just, maybe he's just, a little bit vanilla. But we do see her a little violent towards the DJ that we're assumed that did drugs, and they confront her about it. So that's a little bit more like, she kind of does still have those violent tendencies. Is she still violent? We don't 100% know. And that's why I say it's such a well-made movie, because that's not something I even think about until I think more about the movie. And the movie basically forced me to think more about the movie because it's so fucking well-made. Now I want to talk about the fucking Robert Pattinson stuff. I've already recorded it, so it's going to sound like an awkward transition, so sorry about that, but yeah. So maybe even those three things together, she wouldn't necessarily be a psychopath, but there's some other stuff in there that I can't 100% remember. But, at the end of the movie, I can't even really tell if she's necessarily the problem in her relationship. Robert Pattinson's character, he doesn't really seem to ever want to try and compromise anything for her to kind of match where she's at. Honestly, it doesn't even feel like she likes her for the most part, which we don't see a whole lot of their relationship before him finding this out. And, him finding this out a few days before his wedding, that might make him a little bit more, off-putting in the relationship. He's got like 4 days to figure out if he's going to marry this person. But, he's not, he's not really trying to even work on it. He wants to talk about it, but it doesn't really seem like it's doing anything but making it worse for him. He's honestly trying to repress this story that his wife has told him a few days before their wedding. He's honestly just going about it the wrong way. And the day before his wedding, I'm going to assume, since he was at work, he cheats on his wife. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, dude. And then he causes a huge scene at their wedding, into which he gets punched in the face because, yeah, you fucked somebody else. That guy's gonna be fucking pissed that you cheated. She also cheated, the person he cheated with. So yeah, that guy's gonna be fucking pissed, and he actually takes it as sexual harassment. So he doesn't even know the full story. So he thinks his girlfriend was just possibly assaulted at her workplace. So yeah, Robert Pattinson's character gets fucking smacked in the face, deservingly so, but quite honestly, ruining their wedding, and also making a huge speech about how Zendaya's character didn't do or hurt anyone or do anything. So he's basically outing, like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? What did she do that you're saying that she didn't do anything? Quite honestly, he is the problem in their relationship. Because it is fucked, completely, 100% fucked, but Zendaya's character technically never did anything. She never acted on anything. So when it comes to their relationship, I can't even necessarily say that she is the problem. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about for the movie. Ironically, I pre-ordered the movie yesterday. The Amazon link went up, so I pre-ordered it, $35. And then we sat down and actually watched the movie like an hour later, because I was like, you want to watch this so I can see if I need to cancel this? Absolutely not. This movie is phenomenal. I originally gave it 4 stars, but I since bumped it up today to 4.5 just because it was a little high yesterday. We took some edibles before we watched it, so...
Move this man!
I guess if that takes you out of any of my, not necessarily criticisms or like of the movie, so be it. You can feel how you feel about that, but...
Go fuck yourself!
But, yeah, I'm absolutely going to keep my pre-order. Can't wait to rewatch it on the Panasonic player, because it just doesn't look so great until it's on, that disc at home. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, so if you guys like the video, let me know what you guys thought of the drama down below in the comments. If you like, give it a like. And you guys can follow me on Letterboxd, Serialized, and Dropkicked, yeah. That's pretty much all I got. Thank you guys for watching the video, and stay tuned for the next one. I think we're going to cover Lego Batman next. Depends on how long the fucking game takes me. But that's the next video I have planned, at least, unless another movie blows me away or we get to the May physical media wrap-up. So, yeah, that's all I got. Thanks.